wake up, wake up, wake up. France is still taking millions of dollars out of Africa. And some of those nations sort of unconsciously are still looking unto them. Some of the nations that colonized them, even though the nation that colonized them don't really want to let them go. Okay, like Germans, British, the Dutch, France, and they still somewhat controlling them, and they call it global economy, but it's a way of controlling those nations. They want to keep Africa poor. You see, they're still controlling them. They're controlling them through their consciousness. You know, and some of the folks, not only in the U.S. and in the Caribbean, South America, not only the nations that have been colonized, you can see it in them, but you also can see it in Africa. A lot of them don't remember the culture, the things that sustain them for many years. So when you go back under that consciousness alone will sustain you. Okay? And the consciousness that they created for you when they enslaved you and when they colonized you, that they brought you under that to subdue you, to control you. Even though we resisted, and we fought, but they didn't give up. They kept working at it, and they said, okay, we're going to make you citizens now. Okay? And in a sense, it's you're coming up under a controlled state. Okay? They're calling you a citizen, but they're still mistreating you. You look down through the history, you'll find out that we've fought their wars in this country, in the United States. But when we came back, for instance, when we went in World War II, we fought, and the folks we fought against, they came over here and they got favors, and our soldiers came back, and we didn't get favors, we got mistreated. Okay? And some of them was hung in their uniforms. You figured if you fight for a country, you gave your life, but they're controlling you and they're using you. You see, they exploit the system. The system exploits people, and they exploit you and they use you for their own interests. Okay. It says here, what he says, from their life experiences, a group develops a set of rules and procedures for meeting their needs. The set of rules and procedures, together with a supporting set of ideas and values, is called a culture. Ideals and values, things that you value. You see, a lot of those things were good. Like I said, a man came over here from Africa, and as in 1700s, and things that he had in his culture files, his bag, benefited the whole country. It benefited the European nations, because even when the British was over in India, they had the same part of the same culture that they had in Africa, because they was able to treat smallpox, because they had got together, and most likely, but the Europeans didn't know about it. So some things that they stripped from them, everything was good. It was of use. But they didn't want you to know who you are. They wanted to subdue you So therefore, they said you was an animal. They didn't treat you like a man. You wasn't considered a human. And so we're talking about consciousness. And that African consciousness, that's where mankind began in Africa. So therefore, he gained that consciousness. Okay? It wasn't a consciousness that went around the world killing peoples, exploiting peoples. That's not the kind of consciousness. That consciousness that came to Africa to colonize the peoples there, it was foreign to them. They was kind to the peoples that came. But the peoples that came to Africa to colonize them with a Bible in their hand and a cross in their hands, but they wanted to get them under the consciousness, the European consciousness, so they can be subdued. Okay, and do it little by little. Say, well, I don't need to be free. If you was born here in America, in the United States, and you went to school here, you was trained by the oppressor, then you need to be free. So you may think, I don't need to be free. Free from what? Well, see, they can control you, and you don't know you're under that control. You see, you need wake up. You need to wake up. Wake up. See, when you sleep, you might have went to sleep last night. I don't know. Maybe you stayed up all night. But when you sleep, notice you don't realize that you sleep. You know when you wake up, unless you're dreaming, but you're not sleeping there thinking, oh, I'm asleep. Oh, I'm resting so such sweet sleep. No, you're not. You don't even know you're sleeping. It's just like it is in this world. The reality that you're living in, okay, you think, oh, everything is normal. Well, they cemented everything like this. We got poor peoples. They're not really poor peoples. They have been oppressed. Oh, I'm poor. You're not really poor. You're oppressed. You see? And then they tell you to go to church. When you go to church, they say, oh, you're just struggling. You're struggling and because the devil is causing this. No, the oppressor is causing this. The oppressor is your devil. Okay? That's why you struggle. Someone is oppressing you. Okay, you look around in the land that you're living in, the country that you're living in. If the country that you're living in, the Europeans own mostly everything, then you are up underneath oppression. You see, they conquered this land, and when they said emancipation, but they didn't give you anything. They didn't let you go free. You see, they didn't give you shoes to wear. You was barefooted. You walked away barefooted. They didn't give you no clothes. They didn't give you no soap, no water, no food. They didn't give you anything. They didn't give you no land. There's no emancipation without land. Okay? And one country that left Africa, they wanted to be independent. Okay, but they destroyed everything they could before they left there. That's what they did. They stopped the drainage system up. They did all kind of stuff. You want to be free? Okay, have it your way. Okay, but see, they left there. Those nations left there, but the people is still up under that European consciousness. They still somewhat, even though they left there many years ago, but because they have not come from underneath that consciousness, and they have not got up underneath the African consciousness, they're still like controlled by them. Say, why is Africa, my people, the motherland, okay, I'm part of that continent, That's where I'm from. Some folks say, well, yeah, I'm a native of American. Well, we all from Africa. If you're a native here in the United States and your ancestors is from here, well, actually your ancestors is from Africa. We all are from Africa. That's the motherland. That's why everybody got to, every nation got, most of the resources are there. Most of the resources are there. Okay. So, what was I saying? Well, anyway, let me get back to this. I'll think about that later. Okay, so they strip you of your culture. They had to do that in order to control you. Even though it was valuable, they had to do it in order to control you. Okay? To strip you of your culture. Okay? And to control your behavior. Okay, they wanted to subdue you, and they had to do that to control your behavior. You was brainwashed, and they do it little by little. The oppressor subdue you. He does it little by little. He controlled the consciousness of the people. Not only the peoples at the bottom, but the so-called middle class. You see, there's not really no middle class. They just say that. It's control. It's no middle class. If you got billion, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. I was saying there's no middle class. If you got guys that got 60, $100 billion, and with the middle class, if you got a class of people that got $80 billion, or $50 billion, or $40 billion, or even $20 billion, well, you should have the middle class at least have $100 million in the bank, right? So it's not really no middle class. You see, that's just brainwashed. The whole nation is brainwashed. They control you. They make you think, oh, you in the middle class. You in the middle class, but you don't got $500 in the bank. You middle class, all right. You're brainwashed. You hypnotized. You see? Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up. You see? They control you. They control your consciousness. They tell you you're middle class, and they keep telling you that, and you believe it. But you're not really middle class. You're on the bottom, just like everybody else. You was middle class compared to the top class. You'll pay cash for a house. You'll pay cash for a vehicle. So they do that just to make you feel good. Tell you you're middle class. You just feel good. If we was middle class, why we got so many people sleeping on the sidewalk and sleeping in tents? Why in the world we calling ourselves a third world country? You see, they call the African countries third world country. But see, they're trying to control your consciousness, your reality. They want you to believe that. And then you thinking, oh, I'm a third world country. You're not a third world country. If you're a third world country over there in Africa, then the United States folks are third world countries as well. We got people sleeping on sidewalks. Families sleeping on sidewalks. And sleeping in wooded areas and tents. Okay? I went out west, San Francisco, and I saw many people sleeping on sidewalks. Okay? Around the country, people are in tents. So, see, that's a mental thing. We, as a people, as an African people, have to confront our reality, okay, and control our own consciousness. Not walk on under the consciousness that they have put together for us to walk under, so they can continually control you the remainder of your lifetime, the remainder of your children's lives. We got to begin to come from under this thing instead of trying to wait until people accept you as a person. They're never going to accept you. They don't have to accept you. You have to accept yourself. You have to love yourself. Who told you that you was ugly? Who told you? You made it thousands of years. The folks that was here thousands of years ago, before the Europeans ever built a building, before they ever put shoes on their feet, people lived thousands of years. They didn't leave you empty-handed. They left you a consciousness. They left you culture to sustain you. Okay, and we can regain that back. You don't have to live under a system filled with greed and hate and kill and steal and destroy people, annihilate people. Okay? Many was annihilated in this land, in the United States. Many was put to death in India, in Africa, and don't talk about Australia. The capitalist system. That's what it does. Well, you tell me something good about a system was started out on slavery. That's the capitalist system. It takes. And it brings you up under consciousness that you think that you're the middle class and you don't even have bread to eat. You can't even pay your rent. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. You got homeless people. And yet they're spending billions of dollars on a war in Ukraine. It didn't have to be. They're spending billions of dollars. That money can go for the nation's peoples that's sleeping on sidewalks and sleeping in tents. People have worked all their lives. And they come to retirement. The little money that they have is enough to pay the rent. Okay? And you middle class. You middle class, all right. Okay. So, let's see here. We talked about that. The importance of culture. So you regain your culture back. Don't hate your culture. Don't hate yourself. Don't hate yourself. I was noticed a person, a baseball player. I read information on, just watching something, I guess, and the guy that used to play baseball, and he was like a dark complexion, but he didn't like the color of his skin, and he bleached his skin. I'm not gonna mention his name, but he bleached his skin, and now he's pale. He's pale. You can bleach the outside, but you can't bleach the inside. You got to begin to love yourself. The first man that God put on this earth, the first woman that God put on this earth was peoples of color, was brown-skinned peoples. Was here thousands of years. All around the earth was brown-skinned peoples. Melanated peoples. And you got nerves that bleach your skin. Why you do that? Because you don't know your culture. You don't know the history. You was the first person here for thousands of years. And you got nerve to go bleach your skin. You got nerve people all around the world because of colonization. Because someone lied to you. The British lied to you. The Europeans lied to you. Told you was dirt. You was a nobody. You're not a human. But the Almighty made you. He made you in His image and in His likeness. So if you like Him, why in the world are you going to